I've bought several cars recently and I have a number of projects on the go at the moment, all of which are being featured here on my channel. And there are two things that you can count on when taking on a project car, when taking on a restoration. Number one, it's going to cost more than you think, more than you plan, usually a lot more. And number two, restoring cars takes ages. However long you think it's going to take, it takes longer. Currently, what do I have ongoing? Well, I have my Capri. I'm still working on that one. The Sierra Cosworth, well, that's ongoing too. And as for the ST200 Mondeo, well, I haven't even started that one yet. All three great projects and I'm really enjoying doing them. And look, thank you for your patience. I know what you want to see is progress on those cars. So do I. But I do thank you for your patience and I thank you for sticking with me and I will finish those cars. The good news though about today's video is you don't need patience. You see, in this video, I intend to feature buying, collecting, fixing, MOTing, hopefully, and driving a project car. That's right. I've bought a car and I'm going to start and finish that project in this video. Stood here now, I genuinely don't know how it's going to turn out. This is all a bit of a risk, if I'm honest. You see, this car, well, it's a non-runner. It has no key, it has no MOT. It hasn't been on the road for 2 years. I really don't know how this one's gonna go. One thing's for certain, I feel this car needs saving, and if nothing else, it's gonna be fun. Look, let's throw this cover off and let's get started on this Prestige Executive turbocharged car. And whilst I do that, click that like button and subscribe. Let's see what I've got. Hang on, I'm sure like many of you, well, I spend most of my evenings, most of my spare moments in the day scrolling the likes of eBay, of Facebook Marketplace, of Auto Trader, looking at cars. I'm addicted to looking at cars. I'm addicted to looking at cars and buying cars. And sometimes certain cars, well, they speak to you, don't they? And this one certainly caught my eye. That I like the cars that I like. Sure, you'll know I like my fast Fords from the 80s, the 90s and the noughties. I'm also, regular viewers of the channel will know, I'm a big MG Rover fan. As for other marques, sure, I like BMW, Mercedes and Audi, well, older Audis at least. But when it comes to European prestige cars, well, there's always been one that I've been more drawn to. And it's a niche manufacturer, a Swedish manufacturer, one that went out of business in 2016. So what have I bought? Well, I've bought a 2004 Saab 9.3 Turbo. Look at it, look, and it's a cabriolet. And this one's got the all-important manual gearbox. This is the 210 brake horsepower Aero edition of this car. It really is the one to have. This car's done 85,000 miles, has a nice history pack, and in fact was fully serviced just before it was laid up. This car does 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds. Well, not this one right now because this one doesn't run, but it will, and it will perform like that. Previous owner of this car, Spencer, well, he bought this car as a car to enjoy on nice days, on sunny days. This was the Saab Turbo that he'd always promised himself. As I say, he had it fully serviced just before the car was laid up, parked it on his driveway, and then his grandson, who was playing with the car, managed to take the key apart, and in doing so dislodged and lost the chip in the key. And that was 2 years ago. This car hasn't moved since then, nor from the look of it has it been washed. Spencer listed the car on Facebook Marketplace as a non-runner, and we agreed £400 for the car on the understanding I put it back on the road. Spencer had other offers for this car, but everyone else who wanted it wanted to break the car. And well, to me, I just think it needs saving, but maybe I'm the only mug out there who thought that this car could be saved. We'll find out in this video. So, just over a week ago, I went to collect this car, and here's a video of the first time I clapped eyes on it. Well, this Saab's been sat here now for a couple of years, and there's lots of green algae there down the side. Look at that, good grief, I can't wait to clean that. Looking at the roof, that looks pretty good, albeit don't think it works at the moment. That's something I'll have to sort out. Let's take a look inside. Not too bad in here, not too bad. Does this look in the back here? Oh, that seat doesn't move. I'll get to that. Yeah, I really like this car, really like it. And as for the engine, well, something has definitely been taking its lunch here on the engine cover. But if I brush that off, it looks clean enough under here. Also, the Saab's become home to lots of insects. Look at this beauty, who's claimed the engine bay as home. Then it came to loading the Saab. And the good news is that the brakes, well, they freed off really easily once this car was on the winch. But loading the Saab was made slightly more challenging as the steering lock is stuck on. And being an electronic steering lock, well, you can't disengage it without a key programmed to this car, which I don't have. Plus, the wheels were ever so slightly ajar, meaning I had to reposition the truck and put the car on backwards, which I know is not ideal before you all jump to the comments. You want as much of the weight forward as you can, the engine weight, towards the middle of the transporter, but it was unavoidable on this occasion. I noticed once the Saab had been loaded that the front splitter there on the bumper, well, it had been previously repaired to a fairly poor standard, a job that I knew then I'd need to do as part of this mini project. And well, that made me a little less careful when I unloaded this car. And sure enough, I broke the splitter. So the job list for this car, well, number one has to be getting a key for this car. And for that, we definitely need a specialist. And I'll tell you more about that later in this video. I need 2 rear tyres, as these have been flat at some point in the past and well, they've perished. I need to fix the roof, which according to Spencer was working, and then shortly before he parked it up, stopped working. So we'll take a look at that. I need to repair and paint that front splitter, and I need to give this car a properly good clean. Introduction over then, it's time for the first job on this car, and the number one priority, well, is getting this car running. For that we need a key and we need a specialist. So I've called on Ian of SCR Auto Keys, who's coming out here to work on the car. Let's hope we don't fail at the first job, don't fall at the first hurdle. After all, Saab went out of business, what, 8 or so years ago, so there's no manufacturer to call. I'm pretty confident in Ian. I'm sure he'll do it. Let's see how he got on.
First, Ian needed to disengage the steering lock so that he could turn the wheel in order to release the airbag. And it's fair to say this was a fiddly job. Then Ian could remove the steering wheel to access the SIM, the column integrated module, which is a crucial part of the Saab's immobiliser system. Located here on the steering column, it houses the airbag contact ring, the remote locking receiver, and the indicator and wiper arm stalk mounting points. Now, here in Ian's van, he can remove the SIM circuit board from its housing and work on it on the bench. Ian needs to access the EEPROM, the erasable programmable read-only memory. Basically, it is the SIM's memory that does not lose its data when the power supply is cut off. And once accessed and read, Ian can program a new key. In fact, you can see the key here being written. And there we go, simple as that. Ian now just needs to put everything back on the car and let's see if it worked.
Now that I've got a Saab that starts and runs, well, I can't wait to give this thing a decent clean and take it for a drive. But before I do that, well, I need to sort out those tyres. I've got a few lights that are on the dashboard. I'll show you those in a moment. And of course, the car will need to go through an MOT. So I'll put some air in the tyres in a moment. And because I'm here on the farm and I've got a short private road, well, I thought I'd take it up and down the track a little bit just to see how the clutch is working, see if the brakes are coming on, and well, to get it out of this vegetation that seemed to have sprung up around the Saab that's growing there into the front wheel well, because I think this car arrived in March. We're now in the middle of May. It's a beautiful sunny day, and well, the nature is claiming the Saab at the moment. I'll show you a picture actually of this front wheel. The grass is growing up into the wheel well. So let's get it out of here. Let's take it for a little run. Let's learn a little bit more about this Saab. It's just sad that I can't drop the roof today. It's the perfect weather for it. Remember, we've still got to sort this roof out. Let's put some air in the tyres. God, it's really warm in here, and it's also a really nice place to sit. Right, I've got my key that now works. In it goes. Oh yeah, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Sweet. God, that starts really well. Air conditioning's coming on. Let's turn that off straight away. Okay, 88,525 miles. So, dashboard lights right now. I've got a vent that's trying to come on. So that in a minute. So, dashboard lights right now. Well, the only one that I've got is a airbag warning light, which is great. Previously, I've had the engine management light on, so that looks to have been sorted out. Cool, it's hot in here. I can't put the roof down, but I will put the window down, which works. Right, into reverse. Let's see. Ooh. Ah, there we are, we're out of it. Oh, see what does sound strange. Right. Clutch feels good so far. Let's take it for a drive. So, first drive of this car, and well, first of all, I've got over half a tank of fuel, which is great. And it's driving really nicely. The windscreen wipers are on constantly, which is a bit annoying. I've played with this, but I can't stop them. They're on intermittent. And the brakes are a little bit noisy. But to be honest, clutch, brakes, all feels good. The car's also beeping at me, telling me to open and close the roof before completely driving this car. That's what it says anyway, but that's difficult because that doesn't work. And I have the airbag warning light on here, which I need to sort out, possibly something underneath the seats because it's been wet in here. Or the steering wheel, because of course we took that off, but otherwise, yeah, this engine feels really, really strong. Really quiet too. God, it's great. And the brakes I can feel are already cleaning up. So clutch is good, brakes are good, engine feels good. A couple of electrical things to sort out. Oh yeah. Brakes are a little bit noisy, but as I say, if we can get this airbag light off, which I'll have a play with myself, the sensors under the seats, and maybe take off and refit this steering wheel. After all, we did have a go at the clock spring, of course. We had that off and back on the car. But that, try and sort out these annoying wipers that are constantly on intermittent. I've seen a YouTube video actually where the guy takes the stalk off and cleans up the contacts in there. So maybe I'll try that. And I need to sort out that front splitter because, well, I've torn another part of it off. So that's both the offside and the near side of the splitter that are broken. So I either need a new one or a clever person, MK Body Shop, to fix that. Overall though, I'm really impressed with this Saab. I mean, it sounds sweet as a nut. Right, let's take it back. I'll put a picture on the screen now of the damage I've done to the splitter. And, well, next stage is get the wheels off the back, or that's certainly that wheel on the near side rear, get a new tyre fitted to that. I'll check out the other tyres as well. Maybe I'll do a couple more. And then airbag, and then let's get it in for an MOT. Exciting. Whoa.
Back to those tyres. Well, I needed 2, so I took the wheels away to have fresh tyres fitted, and whilst the Saab was up in the air, we thought we'd tend to the broken rear springs, so I bought 2 new springs and 2 bump stops, which Nigel fitted, as well as doing a bit of tidying up with the black metal paint. With a busy July and August, well, work stalled a bit on the Saab until September, when I gave the car its first wash for well over 2 years. And this wash included giving that green and horrible roof a good scrub. This actually turned out to be the first of many. I also gave the car a decent clean under the bonnet. And given this was only a wash, well, I think the car came out very nicely indeed.
The Saab is looking so much better after that clean, and it smells so much better in here. It would be a really nice place to be, except we still don't have a rear view mirror. That's in the boot, and that's because this roof still isn't working. And we've got some electrical gremlins. Here, I'll show you. So for those 2 jobs, I'm taking it next week to Saab Master in Torquay, and fingers crossed they'll be able to sort out the airbag, clear some of those codes down with their Tech 2 scanner, I don't know, and take a look at this roof. But before it goes in, there's a couple of things that kind of spoil the interior of this car. First of all, this steering wheel, I'll put a picture on the screen now. You'll see here it's got a bit of worn out leather. So I hit eBay and I bought another one, exactly the same, only 20 quid. I think it was £15 plus a fiver postage. So we've got that one to go on, and we've got a different airbag module. In fact, I'm gonna get Nigel to step in here in a moment and swap these steering wheels over, because this could fix our airbag light. Wouldn't that be great? Then it's just clearing the other codes, or telling me at least what's wrong with by Saab Master, and getting this roof working. I really hope this roof comes down, because if I'm minded to sell this car at the end, we all know with cabriolets, when the roof comes down, the price goes up. And well, who's going to want a Saab that's got a fixed convertible roof? Let's not worry about that yet. Let's see what happens. Anyway, the other thing that needs to be sorted out is this, the cup holder. Because, well, it looks good as it is now, but when you hit the button, this happens. Not very good, hey? I'll show you again. So that needs to be sorted out. So again, I hit eBay and I found another one, and it's the same colour. There it is. And well, this was only £20 as well. And this one works. So I'll pop this one out quickly, put this one in. Looks to be a pretty simple job. It's just a clip there, a couple of clips here. So hopefully we'll be able to pull it out, slot this one in, and then it's over to Nigel to do this job. And there it is, one cup holder. When I said Nigel, have a go at the steering wheel. Well done, Nigel. That didn't take you very long at all. And well, it looks so much better. But let's see if it's fixed the problem. Not holding out a great deal of hope. I do think it's the clock spring, but you never know. Here we go. Battery's back on the car. It's off at the... it's off at the moment. No, airbag malfunction. Oh well, as I say, it looks better. Did I mention we got a working cup holder? Has it cleared any of the other... Yeah, all the other faults are gone. Great. So we'll see what happens with those. That's just disconnecting the battery. So maybe that's sorted those. I'll probably take it for a drive before I drive it up to Saab Master. But the airbag light is still on. Oh well. It's a much nicer place to be now.
The car is now all loaded up and off to Saab Master in Torquay, and I am unloading it and leaving it with Andy, that's Saab Master Andy, to fix the airbag and the roof. Fingers crossed, everyone.
When I took the Saab to Andy at Saab Master, I asked him, has there ever been a roof that you couldn't fix? And he said, I haven't been beaten yet. And well, I'm pleased to say, well, I'm not going to say it, I'm going to show you. Look, come a little bit closer and I'll tell you what he did. This car is absolutely transformed with the roof down. It's exactly what a Saab convertible is all about. Open air, luxury, performance driving. I can't wait to take this out on the road. I've literally just unloaded it from the transporter. And well, isn't it running nicely? Really smooth. Let me switch it off for a minute. So Andy had a couple of jobs to do on the Saab. The first is the roof, and you already know that that's been fixed. It needed the main ram doing, or both of the main rams. I'll show you a picture now of the parts that came out of the car. So that was done. The benefit to going to Andy at Saab Master is, of course, he had lots of the parts there taken from Saabs that he's broken, or in the case of the Rams, he's taken them out of other cars and had them refurbished. So I left mine with Andy so that he can refurbish them and we'll keep another Saab on the road, or at least another Saab's roof going down. The other job that you need to sort out for me was the airbag. The airbag light was on and we swapped the steering wheel, but that didn't do it. So dropped it into Andy and he had a good look at the car, scanned the car and spent quite a while diagnosing it. And what it was, here's the squib or the clock spring, and there it is, that's spinning. So that actually was broken. But the other thing that was broken, I don't know if you can see, I'll put a picture on the screen if you can't, is one of the pins here was broken as well. So that needed to be replaced. This is the one that came off the car. Again, the benefit of taking it to Saab Master is that Andy had some of these on the shelf. I had to buy a whole new SIM unit so that he could take this part off and give me that. So again, I had to buy this part, but it works. And there were two faults with the airbag. The other was the seat belts, the seat sensor, the seat runner sensor, that was also broken. This is the one that came off the car. So again, I purchased one from him and he's fitted it. And now when I start the car, no airbag light. In fact, no lights at all. The nicest thing about starting this Saab now is not just that lovely green glow or the digital display, which is green, but also the fact that when they turn the key and start this car, it says check, okay. So this car is now ready for its MOT, but before that, I'm going to drop it into MK Body Shop for the paintwork to be done. And the bits that need doing is that front splitter because, well, I've kept breaking it all through this video. So that needs to be put back together and painted. And also on the rear deck there, where the aerial attaches to the car, well, that's also a bit mashed and a bit scratched. I'm going to have that painted and I'm going to remove that bit of the aerial and get a new one. So follow me on the next chapter of the Saab. It'll be a few seconds for you, a couple of weeks for me, but let's get this car into paint and then let's get it MOT'd. And then I've got a beautiful running, driving Saab Turbo. Another thing that Andy said at Saab Master is he was really impressed with the condition of this car, the way this car drove. He thought it was a really high quality Saab, which was good to hear because Andy's bill, and look, absolutely fine. Lots of work went into this car, lots of hours went into this car, and lots of parts, was 1,128 quid. Ooh, a tough one to take, but I understand it, my goodness. So this car's owing me now, knocking on a couple of thousand quid. So it was good to hear that Andy thought this car was a good one. It's great. I'm actually really falling for this car. It's brilliant. So, as I say, a couple of seconds for you and a couple of weeks for me, but let's get this car into paint.
Now I made a mistake. I made the mistake of saying that I'm not in a rush for the Saab. So Matt at MK Body Shop, well, he didn't start work on the car until February 2025. But that's okay. I didn't want it in the winter. This is a summer car. And you'll see Matt and team repaired, and it was a tough job. They repaired and painted the front splitter and painted the rear deck. They did a really nice job of it. And here we are, at last, it's MOT time for the Saab, and in the car goes. I was so keen to see how the Saab got on at MOT that I waited, and it passed with 0 advisories. Fantastic! Back at home and still with the body shop dust on the car, well, I gave it a clean and then I set about polishing the headlights, which is a job I really enjoy doing because it doesn't take very long and it really transforms the look of a car. Here, see what you think. Time now to get rid of the old badge and to touch up a few bits of paint. And then I gave the paint a full mop and a machine polish. And I fitted new number plates, which always transforms the look of a car, and that new Saab badge.
Now I know what you're thinking. What on earth is he wearing? Well, if you're familiar with Superman, then you'll know that this symbol, it's not an S for Superman, nor in the context of this video, is it an S for Saab. No. In the DC world, if you want to get really nerdy, well, this is the symbol for the House of L, but it also is the symbol for hope. Well, this Saab just a year ago had absolutely no hope at all. Spencer, when he originally advertised this car, well, he was getting calls from people who wanted to buy the car for parts, people who wanted to break this Saab, break the car and sell off its parts. Well, I hope that you agree that whilst it's taken a lot more time than I thought it would, a year to get this car ready, and it's taken a lot more money than I thought it would, well, what we've ended up with is an absolutely stunning Saab Aero. Guys, absolutely fantastic. And ever since I bought this car, I've been busting to drive it. So for the past month, I've actually had this car taxed and on the road. For the whole of March, I've been using this car. I've done more than 1,200 miles in it. And well, I've been so impressed with how it drives. I even took this car on a 400-mile work trip when I stopped at Caffeine and Machine and took some photographs of the Saab there in front of the sign. Well, the car's been great. The main reason for driving it is because I wanted to. The other reason for driving it is, well, this car has had a more than 2-year slumber. So waking this car up, I was keen to understand through driving the car whether there were any remaining issues, a kind of snag list, if you like. And well, I was left with 3 issues on the car. That's what I found during March. 3 issues. The first, from cold, when you drive this car, you're getting full boost. But once the car's warmed up, well, you're only getting around half boost. It's like the car's in a kind of limp mode. And then, sure enough, after a few more miles, it throws up the engine management light. Now, I've done a scan of the car and it's returned this code and it's pointing to a knock sensor. So that's something I've had to look at. Also, well, this car over time keeps dumping all of its washer jet fluid. It's absolutely pouring out here underneath this headlight. And on inspection, well, I found that this T-joint was broken. And finally, the theft protection warning kept popping up here on the dashboard. So I contacted Saab Surgery, who have been absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to pop their contact details in the description below, because if you need any parts for your Saab, give those guys a call. They've been brilliant. And in fact, I'm going to put all of the contact details in the description below for the people that have helped me bring this car back to life. So that's Saab Master in Torquay, Andy, absolutely fantastic. Ian at SCR Auto Keys, again, brilliant. And of course, Matt at MK Body Shop. If you need any of their work done, get in contact with those guys. They're great. Details in the description. But as I say, I contacted Saab Surgery, first of all, to look at this knock sensor fault. And they've sent me well, one of these modules sits on the side of the engine. Not sure if it's a knock sensor unit or not, but as I say, sits on the side of the engine. Actually sent me 2 of these. This is the one that came off the car. It's a big fat one like this, but they also sent me a thinner version of this. So had 2 of these from Saab Surgery. They also sent me some washer jet hose with the all-important T-joint in it. And they sent me a new door actuator for the driver's side because, well, the one on the car hasn't been functioning properly. It hasn't been locking and unlocking the car. And I thought that could be the cause of the anti-theft warning that keeps coming up on the dashboard. In fact, dodgy actuators are a big part of why that happens. So they sent me the parts, brilliant, arrived. As I say, they sent me 2 of these. So the good news, I fitted this larger one to the car, had the same problem. Car was warming up, I was only getting half boost. Then I fitted the thinner one, and again, thanks to those guys for sending out 2, and well, that fixed it. This car now is driving on full boost. It's so much more fun, absolutely brilliant to drive. I also managed to fit the T-joint to the washer jet, so now this car is full of washer fluid, and you can see there's no pool forming under there. But as for the bad news, well, that new door actuator has not fixed the theft protection failure warning. That's still popping up on the car. It's a real shame. So I'm going to speak nicely to Andy at Saab Master and see if he can plug this car into his Tech 2 unit so that we can get to the bottom of what's causing that problem and then hopefully replace the part. And then this car has a complete clean bill of health. You may remember earlier in the video I said I had a problem with the windscreen wipers. They were on permanently, and also a few other electrical systems, but that's all fixed itself. It was all part of waking this car up. As I said earlier just, as I said, just now, this car's kind of been in a 2.5-year slumber. So just using all the things on this car has brought it all back to life. It's the last thing that I need to fix. Now, when I started this project just over a year ago, in fact, at the very beginning of this video, I said that I had 3 projects on the go. I had my Sierra Cosworth, which I've pretty much finished. I need to get back to featuring that car in a video, wrapping that up and showing you that car all complete. I also said about the Capri. Well, if you've been watching my channel for the past year, then you'll know that Capri was in the Ford showroom just a few months ago. And as for the Mondeo ST200, well, I still haven't actually started that car yet. So it's been a year, as I say, and well, if you're still watching this video at this point, I thought I'll give you a bit of a treat. I thought I'd tell you about the other cars that I've bought that are some featured on the channel so far and some that aren't featured on the channel, projects that you can expect to see. The first one, of course, my dad's Mondeo. Hopefully you've seen the first video on that. We've got a long way to go on that car. And my Rover 25 Commerce, which I'm bringing back to life and really restoring up to what I hope will be a high standard. And I've got a big update coming on that car soon. But now 3 cars that you haven't seen yet. And the first is an electric blue Ford Probe, a 24 valve Probe, a non-running car coming to the channel soon. I've also bought a Jaguar XKR and a 1966 Triumph TR4A. So lots to look forward to here on the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing so. It's free to you and you get to see me bring cars like this and all of those that I've mentioned back to life. Plus, of course, you can follow all the cars that are in my current collection. So as I say, please do subscribe. It makes a real difference to me and I hope that you enjoy some of the content that I'm putting out. Back to this Saab then. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. This car pretty much is back on the road, but I am going to do a second video on this car featuring the car itself, the specification, how it now drives, and you'll have to watch that video to see if I can sort out this annoying alarm fault. So please stay tuned for that. I hope that you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed bringing this car back to life, recommissioning this car up to, well, I hope you'll agree, a high standard. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye-bye.